Ambassador Sarah Chen maintained her pleasant smile as she walked into the Galactic Council's emergency session hall. The massive chamber buzzed with the nervous energy of 17 different species, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and subsonic rumbles. At the center of it all sat the Zephyrian High Command, their crystalline bodies refracting the chamber's lights into ominous rainbows. "Honored council members," Sarah began, her voice carrying effortlessly through the translation matrix. "I appreciate you convening this emergency session on such short notice." The Zephyrian Supreme Chancellor, Veltar, rose from his position. His voice resonated like wind chimes in a hurricane. "Ambassador Chen, your species has exactly one solar rotation to explain why 17 of our mining colonies have gone silent. Our preliminary investigations suggest human involvement." Sarah's smile never wavered. She clasped her hands behind her back, the picture of diplomatic serenity. "That's quite an accusation, Supreme Chancellor. Perhaps you'd care to elaborate on these preliminary findings." A holographic display materialized above the council floor, showing the locations of the missing colonies. Each one formed a perfect geometric pattern around Zephyrian space, too perfect to be coincidental. 17 colonies, Veltar continued, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. Over 3 million Zephyrian citizens. Gone without a trace. No distress signals. No debris, nothing. The other council members shifted uncomfortably. The Menthari delegation's chittering grew more rapid, while the gas-form Etherians flickered with obvious anxiety. Everyone knew the implications. The Zephyrians were the council's military might. Their crystal ships could slice through most known materials like paper. "And you believe humans are responsible?" Sarah asked, tilting her head slightly. Her expression remained one of genuine curiosity, as if discussing the weather rather than potential genocide. "Your species has been expanding aggressively," interjected Counselor Thrix of the Menthari Collective. "New colonies sprouting faster than we can catalog them. It's concerning." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "We are indeed a growing species, though I'm curious about your definition of aggressive. We've followed all council protocols for territorial expansion, filed the proper paperwork, paid the required fees." She paused, her smile brightening. "Perhaps that's what you find aggressive, our efficiency?" The Supreme Chancellor's form darkened. "Do not mock us, human. We know your species' history, your propensity for violence. The records from your homeworld paint a clear picture of a species that solves problems through destruction." "Oh, you've been studying our history." Sarah clapped her hands together with apparent delight. "How thorough of you. Though I wonder, did your research cover our more recent developments? Say the last 50 years since we joined the galactic community?" Veltar hesitated. "We focused on patterns of behavior that would be relevant to current circumstances." "Of course you did." Sarah's tone remained pleasant, conversational. "Well, since you brought up our history, let me share some context you might have missed." She gestured and a small device materialized in her hand, a standard human data pad. "You see, when we first encountered the galaxy, we were indeed quite aggressive. Warlike, you might say. We had this terrible habit of solving disputes with kinetic solutions." The council members listened intently, some leaning forward despite themselves. "But then we learned something fascinating," Sarah continued, her smile taking on a sharper edge. "We discovered that other species had very different approaches to conflict. The Etherians, for instance, prefer economic pressure. The Menthari use social manipulation. The Veltai employ biological warfare." She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the assembly. "And the Zephyrians? Well, you prefer overwhelming technological superiority. Crystal ships that can cut through anything. Weapons that can glass entire continents. Very impressive." Veltar's form began to pulse more rapidly. "Your point, Ambassador?" "My point," Sarah said, her smile never faltering, "is that we learned. We adapted. We became diplomatic." She emphasized the last word as if it were a weapon itself. "You see, we realized that our old ways, the kinetic solutions, the direct confrontation, these were terribly inefficient. Why destroy an enemy when you can simply remove them?" The chamber fell silent except for the ambient hum of life support systems. "Take your missing colonies, for example," Sarah continued conversationally. 17 strategic mining operations gone without a trace. No debris, no distress signals. It's almost as if they simply stepped out of reality. The Supreme Chancellor's crystalline form was now strobing with alarm. "What are you saying?" I'm saying that humans learned something very important about efficiency, Sarah replied, her pleasant demeanor unchanged. We learned that the most elegant solution to any problem isn't to destroy what you don't want, it's to keep only what you do want. She held up her datapad. Your colonies aren't destroyed, Supreme Chancellor. They're simply elsewhere. Think of it as involuntary relocation. Very humane, really. No casualties, no suffering. They just exist in a slightly different configuration of space-time. The implications hit the Council like a shockwave. Gasps, clicks, and electromagnetic pulses of alarm erupted throughout the chamber. You're talking about dimensional manipulation, whispered Counselor Thrix. That's theoretical technology. Impossible. Sarah's laugh was like silver bells. Oh, Counselor. We humans have such a talent for making the impossible merely improbable. And once something is merely improbable, well, we get very good at probability manipulation. She turned to address the entire Council, her smile radiant. The beautiful thing about this solution is its elegance. No messy wars, no collateral damage. We simply adjust the variables until the problem resolves itself. Supreme Chancellor Veltar's voice cracked like breaking crystal. This is impossible. Our sensors would have detected what? Sarah interrupted gently. Energy signatures? Gravitational anomalies, my dear Chancellor. Our sensors can't detect something that never happened in the first place. Reality is surprisingly malleable when you approach it with the right perspective. The chamber erupted in chaos as species after species began demanding explanations, protections, guarantees. Sarah waited patiently for the noise to subside, her expression never changing. Now, she said once relative quiet returned, I believe the Supreme Chancellor had some concerns about human expansion. I'm here to address those concerns diplomatically. Veltar's entire form had gone pale, his crystalline structure barely maintaining coherence. What? What do you want? Want? Sarah looked genuinely surprised. Oh, we don't want anything from you, Chancellor. We want things for you. Peace, prosperity, the joy of knowing your place in the universe. Her smile brightened impossibly. We want you to be happy, comfortable, safe. She paused, letting the word hang in the air. After all, she continued, happy species don't need to be adjusted. They exist in perfect harmony with reality as it is. Wouldn't that be nice? The silence stretched like a held breath. So, Sarah concluded, her diplomatic smile still perfectly in place, shall we discuss the terms of the Zephyrian Empire's peaceful integration into humanity's sphere of influence? I think you'll find our offer quite generous. As she began outlining the proposal, her smile never wavered. Not even when 17 new stars suddenly appeared in the chamber's observation dome, burning bright and impossibly close. The missing colonies had returned, but they were no longer alone. And Ambassador Sarah Chen continued to smile.